Good morning. How are you all today? Glad you could join me on another episode of Stand on Guard. Got plenty to talk about today. Every day seems to bring much more momentous news. We'll be back shortly to tell you what that is.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
Yes, please like this broadcast and share it with your friends and family. It is actually helping. I can't believe the difference in the last couple of days. We beat YouTube again because you can either just take it and like it, or you can fight back. And that's what we've been doing, is fighting back and not taking this. We're going to fight back. And thank you for so many people subscribing yesterday, so many people watching the show, because I think we're doing something a little different here, which I always say. Other people can do their record acts. Some of you might know what I'm talking about when I say that, but we want to try to present original news here, and that's what I'm doing. Thank you so much again for watching. So before we get on to what are we talking about today? Okay, Justin Trudeau is out of the country. It's in Peru. The funny thing is, his office released a statement saying that there would be no government business conducted as of Thursday. Because he's in Peru and because the people left are incompetent. Now, if there's anything that you can take from the description today, it's that this Trudeau government is a collection of scoundrels and incompetents. That's what we're left with. And a prime minister who flees the country every time things don't look so well. He doesn't know what to do about Donald Trump's reelection. He hasn't got a clue. Yesterday, we talked about what's going on at the border. There's a border surge going on. Justin Trudeau's oblivious to it. The immigration minister has a plan 2 years away. But I wanted to show you this right away because this was news to me. I just saw this yesterday. When I talk about a cabinet full of scoundrels, we'll be talking about another, I think, scoundrel. I can't really go further than that. But does this surprise me? This is obviously an accusation. It's alleged. I'm not going to say he stole the money. I don't know. But he was accused of doing that in the House of Commons by a Conservative MP. The Western Standard, where I used to work, published this story on November 11th, this week. Now, Guilbeault, of course, is a complete hypocrite. This is a man who flies around the world going to COP24 conferences and going to climate change conferences, eating up lots of fossil fuels in the process. But that's okay because he's one of those special anointed few who bring the message to the masses about how it's fossil fuels are destroying you, how climate change is destroying you. Actually, it's people like Stephen Guilbeault that are destroying governments. They're rotten to the core, these governments. We're going to be talking about how does somebody like Randy Boissonnault, the employment minister, I'm going to say we've had Randy on the show several times. We've shown you lots of video of Randy on this show, usually related to his committee appearances or that of his business partner, where he fails to explain everything that went on while he was a cabinet minister and apparently still involved with a lobbying firm. Not supposed to happen at all. Not supposed to ever happen in government, in any honest government. But Boissonnault has been getting away with this. And like I say, this is a government of scoundrels and incompetents. Yesterday, we focused on two of the incompetents, Chrystia Freeland and Melanie Joly, who haven't got a clue what to do about the border surge, look like a deer caught in headlights when asked questions about it, and are completely out of their depth. And you've got people like Stephen Guilbeault, who this week said The election of Donald Trump isn't going to make a single damn bit of difference. Single damn bit of difference to the Trudeau government's climate change plan. Well, wake up, Stephen. What you do really means nothing anymore. And if you think you can drain the economy through your climate change taxes, your carbon taxes, and your various ceilings and caps, it's not going to happen. You're defeated already. It's over. Let's have a look at what's going on here with Randy. This is incredible. Now, the Ethics Committee, and we've had Michael Barrett on the show, Conservative MP, who's been absolutely like I want to say a pit bull, but I don't like pit bulls. Say like a German Shepherd after Randy Boissonnault. He has really, really been on the attack on this. And there's new Randy text. This is the incredible thing. Is that this and no other government in the world would allow a minister like this to stay in office. And of course, every time anybody goes after Randy Boissonnault, it's because of his it's personal issues. It's not because of professional conduct. He's just being attacked. He's being victimized. Poor Randy, you know. Yes, and of course, Randy's actually. Does this remind you of Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts, the Democratic senator there, who claimed to be indigenous? Hmm. Now, Randy's claiming the same thing. This kills me. Now claims that his mother has Métis status, despite previously claiming being non-status adoptive Cree. The claims come after his company bid on federal contracts under the guise of being Aboriginal owned. Does this guy have no ethics at all? How low will he stoop? Now he's like Elizabeth Warren claiming to be Aboriginal so he can get some special favors and the government. It's just incredible. This guy is so elite, so entitled, so emblematic of what's wrong with the Trudeau government. So symbolic of the corruption that's going on here. One more firm alleges it was defrauded by Liberal cabinet minister's partner. Now, this is still his partner. And this is the guy who came before the ethics committee and told some bald-faced lies and admitted he had told some bald-faced lies. Now, this is a really interesting thing. His Boissonnault's former business partner linked to a woman detained in Dominican Republic cocaine bust. Now, we're going to watch a video about this. But first of all, I want to say it was an NDP member of parliament that opened up the whole question of Randy's involvement with the drug trade or potential involvement with the drug trade, and at least asked the question.
A former business partner linked to a woman detained in Dominican Republic cocaine bust. Liberal cabinet minister Randy Boissonnault's former partner in a medical supply company has ties to an Edmonton woman who was detained in a massive cocaine bust in the Dominican Republic in April 2022. The Dominican authorities detained 12 Canadians, including LeBond, after a crew from the Canadian charter company Pivot Airlines said that they discovered, and I'm not talking small amounts here, 210 kilograms of cocaine hidden in their plane. Like, that would make Escobar blush. Oh, no, feel free to take the point of order.
So is it?
I have many thoughts.
So is it a point of order on the amount of cocaine,
well, just on.
What's the point of order on?
You're on
The amount, is that really that important? Was that not enough? Incredible. And this is why I say, what have we got going in Canada right now? And think about this. The Liberals won't even stand up in the House of Commons and defend this man anymore during question period when he is rightly attacked for being at the center of this. He has no defense. He's not even trying to pretend he's innocent anymore, actually. He's just refusing to answer the questions. He's refusing to say, well, that's a private matter. We don't want to discuss it. I'm sorry, Mr. Minister. It's a very public matter. And that's the very point. This is disgraceful for any government anywhere, but especially for a democratic one.
Alleging that Global Health Imports and your former business partner, Stephen Anderson, defrauded them of more than $1 million. Should the Edmonton police investigate GHI and Anderson?
So, Nathaniel, I have shared my information with the Ethics Commissioner on many times, and now 3 times the Ethics Commissioner has said that he has no concerns. And in his last letter to me, he indicated that this matter was closed.
You've repeatedly said that Stephen Anderson is using your name without your consent to personally profit. What legal action are you taking or are you preparing against him?
You know, what I've said is, if Mr. Anderson is using my name without my knowledge.
This man is just so incredibly pathetic to watch. Perhaps that's the wrong word. It's aggravating. It's beyond reason how this man gets away. Look at him standing up there with his hard hat, which he's obviously never had on before. He looks like a bloody homeless person right now, which of course could be just about half of Canada, the way things are going under the Trudeau government. But he's completely unfit to be a minister, completely unfit to be leading any department in Canada. But here he is trying to get some plaudits as employment minister, getting some real questions from some of the local media and doing his best, which is not very good, to evade answering those questions.
Which, I never gave him permission to do that. Then he should share that with the committee. And I've been very clear in my recent statement and at committee.
This is something way beyond the ethics commissioner. This needs to be investigated by the RCMP. But it's not being investigated by the RCMP, is it? Have you noticed that? It's beyond, he's beyond investigation. But what does the RCMP like to talk about? How they're investigating India. That's what the RCMP likes to investigate. Not Justin Trudeau, not Stephen Guilbeault, not Randy Boissonnault, but India. Because that has proven to be a lovely distraction for Justin Trudeau. And you know what Justin Trudeau was thinking? And I can tell you this, because I understand the mind of an authoritarian, not because I'm one myself, because I've worked in government, I've worked in politics for most of my life. Even in the military, I had a political role, which was a spokesman, a public affairs officer, who had to understand the political climate when answering questions, who had to understand what the politics were. So I understand how these people think. And I can tell you, Justin Trudeau thought Donald Trump would not win the election in the United States, and he would have free reign to keep on distracting, to keep on smearing everybody over India, to keep on now going on his disinformation campaign to smear journalists everywhere who don't agree with him on Ukraine or just about any other policy, that this could continue unabated for as long as Justin Trudeau thought he could get away with it. And I'm sorry, it didn't work for him. It hasn't worked at all. Here. India's most wanted terrorist arrested on gun charges in Canada. Looks like the RCMP is doing their work, or does it? The government of India responded to this, and the government of India has been watching this and saying, what the hell is Justin Trudeau up to here? What is he trying to do? He's destabilize relations that have gone on between our two countries for decades. since India's founding in 1947, since its founding as an independent state after being a colony of Great Britain for centuries. We have seen media reports circulating since 10th of November on the arrest in Canada of proclaimed offender Arsh Singh Gill, alias Arsh Dali, the de facto chief of the Khalistani Tiger Force. Canadian print and visual media have widely reported on the arrest. We understand that the Ontario court has listed the case for hearing. Arsh Dali is a proclaimed offender in over 50 cases of murder, attempt to murder, extortion, and terrorist acts, including terror financing. In May 2022, a red corner notice was issued against him. He was designated in India as an individual terrorist in 2023. In July 2023, the government of India had requested the Canadian government for his provisional arrest. This was declined. Additional information was provided in this case. Now, you can read that at your leisure. That will be included in the description. But clearly, who are we finding in Canada? Khalistani terrorists, Khalistani extremists. And the Indian government, of course, is left maligned by Trudeau, saying they've been doing some bad things, and we're going to get them for it. I'm going to show this clip again because this reveals what Justin Trudeau has created in this country. Now, this is absolutely shocking, and it's worth watching again because this is where we've come to in this country, because Justin Trudeau doesn't seem to understand what his words and what his actions have created. He is creating a vacuum in Canada where we no longer can define Canadians as anything except what Justin Trudeau says they are. Now, this is worth watching again. I showed this yesterday. I'm going to show it again.
This is our country. You are from Europe. We are owner of this country. Go back to Europe. Go back to England. Deport our England people. You go back to Europe. You are not Canadian. We are Canadian. This is our country. You are invaders. We are native Indian. You go back. Go back. You white people, go back to your Europe. Go back to your England. We are owner of this country, you white people. This is our country.
Now, these are the crazy people that Justin Trudeau is aiding and abetting. Now, this is absolute. It's not just nonsense. It's craziness. It's certifiable. These people are telling Canadians who live here of any ethnicity, of any color, but most of all, if you happen to be white, go back to Europe. Go back to England. We are in control. I'm sorry, I must have missed something. If you're in Canada legally, you're here because the immigration system allowed you to come in, gave you permission. If you're here illegally, we should be kicking your ass out of the country as an illegal. But this is the point. Canada is not about people who come here and suddenly declare that they're a sovereign republic and they no longer have anything to do with the rest of the country. But that's what Justin Trudeau's words are creating, because he is so in the pocket of the Khalistani terrorists, of people who don't represent all Sikhs. But Trudeau doesn't understand anything except identity politics. And he thinks if he can jump on this Khalistani bandwagon, must be something in it for me. There must be some political importance to it. And that's exactly how Justin Trudeau thinks and feels. Now, I want to get to a couple of other things here. This is incredible. This came out just before the election, written by a U.S. senator. It says, Trudeau and not Trump is the greatest threat to NATO. Now, we know Donald Trump is probably going to reduce the power of NATO because it's an organization without any rational objective or purpose anymore. But Trudeau, of course, plays this game where he pretends he's 100% behind NATO and he won't fund NATO. He won't fund our own military. He gives our money away to Ukraine, to his friend Zelensky, and it disappears in the black hole of Kiev. Now, this should be a scandal that Justin Trudeau gave away tens of billions of dollars of your taxpayer money to a corrupt regime in Ukraine to keep a war going that Ukraine cannot win. And even if a nuclear war is started, Ukraine's not going to win that either, and neither is anybody in the world. That is crazy. That is insane if that happens. But Ukraine cannot win this war. It always knew it could not win this war. This war is going on now for so long because a lot of people are getting very rich off of this war, namely the armaments manufacturers and those who have stock in them, which include a lot of politicians. You just look at the people who are lined up, who are making the big bucks off of this Ukraine war. It's people in the armaments industry and the stockholders. And those are the politicians. And they keep these wars going because it's good for the business. Bear in mind, over 12 years in the military, officer, proudly wore the uniform, but damn it, I'm not going to justify foreign wars so people get rich. So men and women can come back in body bags so other people can get rich. And there's no point in keeping these wars going except to keep people rich. That's bad policy. But of course, this Trudeau is the threat. Now, I wrote this column this week for Human Events. I really, really ask you to read it. 7 days it shook the world. Now, you might reckon, where have I heard that title before? It was actually 10 days that shook the world. It was about the Bolshevik Revolution, which, of course, I despise. I hate Bolshevism. I hate communism. I hate collectivism. I support free enterprise system. I support individual rights. But what Donald Trump is doing in the United States in the first week with the appointments he's made. Yes, I disagree with Marco Rubio being there, but he's working for Donald Trump, not Marco Rubio. What Donald Trump has done by appointing people like Matt Gaetz as Attorney General or nominating Matt Gaetz as Attorney, we'll see if he can get through that Senate process. That's going to be a hard one. But by nominating Bobby Kennedy Jr. as Health and Human Services, beautiful. Tom Homan, we talked about Tom yesterday, as the border czar. This is a guy who's committed to his job, to getting rid of illegals. So many inspired choices being made. Even Pete Hegseth, when I first heard Pete Hegseth for defense secretary, I thought, well, isn't this guy, he was like a major, like, basically the same thing I was in the Canadian Armed Forces. And is he qualified to do the job? A Fox News host? Well, Donald Trump is thinking, this is a guy who's not in the pocket of the munitions industry. This is a guy who understands how the military works, but doesn't understand how to play the game. Because if you look at retired generals, not just in the United States, but in Canada, I don't know how many I personally witnessed do the revolving door out of national defense into the armaments industry, into selling arms, into promoting weaponry. Donald Trump's saying, hey, Pete Hegseth is not on the same page. And I think that was a brilliant move in retrospect. I questioned it at first. But the point is, Donald Trump is the anti-globalist candidate. And that's why he scares the hell out of Justin Trudeau. And that's why he scares the hell. I'm just going to show this very, very briefly. Please read this column.
Pretty stark warning that the mass deportation policies that
he scares the hell out of Melanie Joly. If I showed that interview yesterday, she looks like she hasn't got a clue in hell what to say because she doesn't. They are completely unprepared to deal with the election of Donald Trump and the incoming presidency. And all of these people Donald Trump is lining up because this is an anti-globalist candidate. And the Conservative Party candidate needs to stand up and loudly proclaim this as a victory for freedom, for individualism. And that's what needs to happen here. Not retreating, not apologizing, not saying that we are happy about this, but not very happy. There needs to be resounding applause for Donald Trump's election because it's a repudiation of the globalist elite and it's an affirmation of individual rights and freedom of speech and our right to go forth as a country and to damn well drive the car we always wanted to drive. It comes down to that. We're not going to be told that we can't drive our gas-powered car after 2030. This is about retaining, grabbing our rights and not letting them go. And Justin Trudeau knows that. The entire Liberal caucus knows that. The Liberal cabinet knows that. And that's why I say this government in Canada, which, by the way, hasn't passed any government business in a month now because it refuses to hand over the green slush fund documents to the RCMP, is a vacuum. And it's inhabited by a bunch of scoundrels and incompetents. Justin Trudeau, chief among them, being both a scoundrel and an incompetent, who right now is on the run around the world because he doesn't want to deal with reality. So that's where we are. And I probably said enough for today. Thank you so much for watching. And I will be back again tomorrow. Thank you for watching this episode of Stand on Guard and being a part of the Krayden's Right channel. If you've watched this episode to this point, you've watched it all. And that's really important for a small station like this. We always say subscribe, hit the bell, be a part of the Krayden resistance. Resolve to resist. That's what we're doing. And if you become a subscriber, if you're a supporter of this station or a member through Substack, through YouTube, and now you can be a local as well, that's so important to us because I couldn't do this without you. I made a decision to become an independent journalist about a year ago because I wanted to bring all of my experience in the military, in journalism, to you. I don't promise anything I can't deliver. I don't offer clickbait. I offer truth. The truth is out there. And it's my job to bring that truth to light and to you. Thanks for being a part of the Krayden's Right resistance, and we'll see you again soon.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need the resolve to resist